Good morning, beautiful people. So, I have brought in my book of one of my books of shadows today, because we're actually going to do the story of one of my past life regressions. So, this was the first one that I did. It was a couple weeks ago, and I know I've been talking about it a lot, but I haven't actually filmed yet. So, this is one of many. So when I went into my meditation, I was led down to this giant library. And there was levels and levels and levels of books. And I knew that they were all stories of what I'd been into, what I'd done previously. And honestly, some of them might even be from the future, I don't know. But there was a lot of them. And I wound around kind of in the maze of books with my guide Roland, and I picked, I believe it was a small unmarked white book. Like, it was little, it was very small, off of the shelf. And it didn't have a title, but as soon as I opened it, I started the journey into basically the story of this past life. So, spoiler warning, or I guess just warning in general, this is not a happy story. It's very intense and very emotional for me, and I'm actually going to keep it kind of PG because a lot of it is, a little violent and a little personal to be actually addressing here. So, I have it written down on here. I'm gonna refer to this for notes, but I think I can remember most of it. So, when I entered into this life, I was male. I was wearing woolen clothes, gray probably, and then I had this nice round hat. And I lived in this small village of these little animal skin iglus. Animal skin igloos. They were tents, but they're roundish, made out of furs and stuff. And it was right on the edge of a forest, and then there's a cliff over here. So coming into the village, and there was little houses, and so I came into this village, and I had this beautiful, dark-haired native woman for my wife, and she had a little baby. And then I kind of realized that when I went into my house, I realized that there was a couple more kids. I think I had a total of 4. And so when I went into my house, all my kids come running up at me like, "Yay, Daddy's home," or something like this. And I can see all my kids, and I can see my wife, and I never really got her name. And I didn't really get the names of the kids either. I'm pretty sure I had 3 sons and a daughter. And I don't really remember. I kind of jumped around. But long story short, there was an accident, and I killed my daughter. In a very, it was an accident, and I felt absolutely horrible, and I don't really know how to express that, but there was an accident in the village, and after it happened, people were just pushing me out of the village, yeah. And I, of course, was still very protective and trying to fight them to get back in to see my daughter, and I'm pretty sure I was banished from the village or I sent myself off for a while, and I didn't come back until a couple nights later to see that my house was on fire. And I went in to get my wife and my other kids out, and I was looking around for my daughter and realized she wasn't there, and that was horrible. So basically, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I age progressed until I was pretty old. And I kind of watched my kids grow up, but this whole meditation probably only took half an hour, but it went through the entire It's like from where I was a child and climbing trees with these other kids, and then as an adult and with my own family, and then I was old and I went to my daughter's grave, and I used to sleep there next to my daughter's grave a lot. And then like the very literal extrapolation of this was that I went into the forest and was impaled like through the chest by this tree that was like very pointy at the edge. But I think that it was just probably more just like a logging accident, insofar as, not very literal, but like just trying to get the point across that, anyway, I don't know that I died from that, but in the meditation, when I ran into it or it fell on me, it hurt really bad right here. I was like, okay, then that's real. Yeah. So that was basically the gist of it. Oh, my name was Samuel. I'd like to say I don't know my wife's name or any of my kids, but I knew my name. And then I basically, as soon as the vision was finished and it kind of started replaying from the beginning again, I went back out into the library, and I'm pretty sure I titled the titleless book with the year of 1702, which Roland just told me while I was holding the book. And then I just put the book back on the shelf and left the library. But as I was saying, there was hundreds and hundreds of books. So, and I haven't really gone back into another one of those meditations because not that I haven't not had time, but more like it's a very immersive experience that you don't want to like jip out on and only get half of the story. So yeah. And I'm guessing that probably wasn't my last life, but it was just the one I picked off the shelf. And it was very intense. So yeah. That is the story there. Anyhow, I will let everyone go back to having fun and stop thinking about sad and depressing things. Okay, I'll see everybody later. Goodbye.